and I'll put this up. You can share it with others, but I get a chance to do this pretty frequently, so I've become, I'm not going to say I'm skilled at it, but let's just say I'm better than before.
Expert, as you always were. Right.
Just better.
I remember when you weren't.
Yeah, but you're not going to tell anybody, are you? All right, I should be showing. Are you guys seeing the large screen or the small screen?
Small.
So yeah, I can see the MACKAYBEN.
Yeah, small.
I can see that Christmas reunion.
Not in presentation.
It looks better now, doesn't
There
it?
it is.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, so I've called this a Christmas reunion. I've got it on record, and I'll look back over my shoulder a little bit in the fourth quarter of 2020 when Dean and I and Drape decided to go into the alumni group. And this was a shot of the 6 grandkids that I had at the time when I said I was going to start MACKAYBEN. And I'll show you a future shot. This was probably the summer of, gosh, this must be the summer of 19, about 3 years ago, a year before retirement, when the kids were at the family farm. And what we've got together here today are some teammates and some friends. Carson's not here. Tim's traveling back from South America. I think he had a company assignment there. I haven't heard from Dave Lovell. I know things are busy at the factory. You might have to fill us in a little bit on that, Jonesy. And we just had a little bit of a discussion about Robert Ross, but those are the 4 that I don't have photography for. So I've got them in alphabetical order. Tom and his wife are headed from Atlanta over to Birmingham, Alabama today. And Tom's wife has a brother that's interned in a care center there. But this is a picture of Tom and his 6 grandkids, the ones in his arms on the right, and in the couch in the Christmas photo are the 6 kids. And evidently looks like number 14 there is destined to be an Alabama Crimson Tide player at like age 4.
Looks like K-State purple.
K-State colors there, Josh.
Yeah, I tell you what.
I'm gonna need Drake to wear those purple colors on the 31st of December.
Who you got for a bowl game, Josh?
Bama. We got Bama.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, and they just announced that their starters, or at least most of them, are actually going to play in the game, which is surprising.
That
is a surprise. I tell you what, our Kentucky team is Kentucky's second team is going to play Iowa's second team in the Music City Bowl. And I think a lot of the fans will go down there and get drunk on Broadway and never make the stadium. It'd be probably a good deal. All right, Rex, give us some background here. What do we got?
Yeah, so this is just a couple of weeks ago. Like I said, my wife and I have been married 20 years, but actually that was a couple of years ago, and then she had to have her surgery at that time, so we delayed. We were going to take a big trip. We delayed the trip until just 2 weeks ago, and we went to Hawaii. So that is right behind you. I remember this because I was just there. Called the Spouting Horn, and that's it's almost like a geyser where the water comes up, through that hole back there. And so the kids now, the one on the right is a senior in high school. She's going to be graduating, hopefully. Well, I know she is. She actually, they told us last week she was star student. So that's good, the top SAT. And then the one in the green there is a sophomore. And then my son over on the left is 8th grade. Like I said, that's not a Gamecocks hat. Well, it is, I guess it's a Hawaii Gamecocks hat, right? And then we've got the 4-year-old there who has a serious pacifier addiction problem. But we've learned to live with that. But
is your boy still playing golf, Rex?
Oh yeah, and he's actually he's playing golf, and he just got done with basketball season. He played football this year for the first time. He started playing soccer last year. So anytime they roll the balls out, he's one of the first ones there. And he's pretty good. He's a good athlete. So that's good. And actually my sophomore, their daughter's a sophomore, she plays softball and she played basketball last year. She was playing softball and soccer this year. And then my girl on the right does musical theater. She's not much athlete.
I'll ask you guys if you'd like to. You can put in the chat who you think was the last one to have their picture sent to me for the group. You make your vote as to who was probably the guy that was the last to arrive, and we'll see whether or not you're right at the end of the game. But no,
At
Rex,
least
that's
I got
great.
it to you, Russ.
I can remember having pizza with your family. When you first arrived coming over from Augusta. Your home today is just outside of Athens now, right?
Well, actually, with the COVID, we decided to move back to my hometown. So I'm actually living near Augusta again. So I go and going to the office every couple of weeks for 2 or 3 days. Well, I will be. I have. That's probably the idea going into the next year. But
and you report to whom?
I report to Jeffrey Ratliff now.
Okay. All right. Well, good for you. Yeah. I'll clue you guys in on some work we're doing for some work for AGCO from our MAC group. So, all right, Josh, here's what I picked off. I saw this on Facebook for you. You can give us a little rundown on your trip south.
Yeah, yes, sir. Well done picking that off. So that picture was Tuesday of this week, maybe Wednesday. All the days run together. So we were in Orlando for, as a farmer and somebody working for AGCO, right, there's only a couple of windows of opportunity. So baby calves start coming the first week of January. Fall harvest just got completed, even though it wasn't much of a harvest. So we try to use this window to take the kids out of school and go do something with them, which for me is hilarious because both of my parents were school teachers for 35 or 40 years, and they would have said this was a terrible thing until it's their grandkids and they actually came along with us. So now it's all fun. But
so your mom and dad went with you to Orlando?
Yeah, they did. Yep, they went with us and kept up and now we had a nice 4 days. So 1 day at each of the 4 major parks there, and the kids were mostly this happy the whole time. So Maddie in the back in the yellow shirt, she's a 6th grader this year. She's 11. She's doing awesome. Coming off all the COVID challenges and dad trying to teach her math and all that kind of stuff, that some tough days in there, but she's an awesome student and involved there. Her love on the farm is the cattle side, so she doesn't really care too much if she grows any crops. She just wants the cattle side of the business. And then Ethan's in the front there. He's a 1st grader, so he's 7, and he's the social guy in the group. He'll go talk to anybody about anything at any time, and work his best to be an expert pretty quick. But he's also a big fan of the farming operation. So
is Maddie at the age yet, Josh?
Keep track. Sorry, Russ, go ahead.
Did Maddie show cattle yet? Or is she in like FFA or 4-H?
Nope. She we keep talking about 4-H and all that, but she's so stinking independent. Must be like her mother there, that she's much more interested in whatever her plan is for what she's doing than she is following some guidelines of some 4-H or FFA. So, or maybe she gets it from me. I'm not sure.
How many heifers do you have that'll calve? How many?
We'll calve 179.
Oh my goodness sakes! You're in it a big way, bigger than I thought. Your dad's still in the operation with you, or is it just yourself?
Yep. No, he's doing great. He loves feeding them. So like that's his thing. If we all have our role, why he's feeding morning and night, processing hay and feeding corn and doing all that kind of stuff. And I'm happy to be the guy wrestling calves and tagging them and doing all that kind of stuff. So we split the work up pretty well, and now he's doing great.
Caleb's smiling because he can appreciate the division of labor on a family farm like that, and what he and Mark share. So he probably has a good appreciation for that. Well, hey, looking great for you.
Hey, Josh, right. I just want to mention that's quite an accomplishment. You said your kids were happy pretty much the whole time. I know that, times we've been to Disney, it's invariable. A couple of times a day, you'll see, the meltdown from the random child, and my
Yep.
wife will look at everybody and be like, happiest place on earth.
We saw so much of that. I
Yep.
felt super lucky. For sure, we all had our moments, right? Like somebody didn't get what they wanted or get the ride that they wanted or had to wait in line or was hot or whatever. But for the most part, it was awesome.
Can we
Later
expect
on,
to
you'll
see in
see-
the steer wrestling next year down at NFR then? I'd love to cheer you on.
Later on, you'll see my 7-year-old granddaughter, and her memory is in 2017, when she was 2, I was in charge of watching her in the stroller while the kids were doing some mouse house runaround. And next thing you know, I turned around and I couldn't find her. She was lost. And evidently I'd wandered away to watch some people do something differently, and some guard from the Disney group had started to take her to Lost and Found. So that's her memory of the Disney trip, that I lost her.
Grandpa lost her.
It could happen to anybody. It could happen to anybody. It was just an accident. All right, Jonesy, you've kept yourself out of the look here, but we got 3 good-looking ladies.
Yeah. This was the latest one I had. This was late October. We went out to the Black Hills. Being from Southwest Minnesota, everybody's got to go out to see Mount Rushmore. So all their friends were talking about being out there. So we made the iconic trip out there, and unlike Ecom, who had a better reason to do it late in the year, I did it later in the year just because it's so much damn cheaper. The hotels in the summer out there, because I go out there because Butler's got a location, it's like upwards of $300 in the summer, and they're down to 65 in October. So if anybody's ever looking to go out there, hit it later in the year. But yes, these are my 2. Maya on the right is 9, and Jordan on the left is 7. And as we were kind of talking in the beginning of the call here, they're all about their horses. All 3 of them are all about their horses. It seems like we begrudgingly add one, it seems like every year. I forget if we're up to 5 or 6 now, but that is what makes them live and breathe. We added a trailer that they could go overnighting with, so they're starting to do that kind of stuff too in the summer when the weather's good. But yeah, trip was good. Yeah, they grow so fast. They were just tiny. It didn't seem like that long ago, but they're a lot of fun.
You better make quotas. What you better do, if you're going to take care of 3 girls and horses and a trailer, you better be making business plan up there at Butler every year, buddy.
I will say, last year Butler was number 1, and this year it's probably going to be a repeat. So not saying I did it, but they're doing all right.
And by the way, you guys all know that Kevin, why don't you announce who the new general manager is up at Butler's?
Oh yeah, that is pretty fresh. So Mark
Tall
Madsen
guy, right?
left this spring. Yeah, tall guy. And it took Butler a while, but Ben Studer is the new director of ag for Butler. I think he's on week 3 now. And going good. He's drinking from the fire hose as anybody would after leaving. Well, I think he was with AGCO like 17, 18 years. And this would be his first change. So not being from the commercial side, I'm teaching him a lot. I don't know if I'm a good teacher, but we'll get him up to speed one way or the other. I think we had to cover slush funds this morning, and I said, don't ask a lot of questions. Just we take care of things.
I talked to Ben today. Ben, I'm leaning on Ben a little bit to get in one of our AGCO mindset operations, and unfortunately, at Commodity Classic Week next March, he's waiting for his second child. He and his wife will have their second child in March of next year, and I think Ben's a good choice. I like know that he lacks any kind of sales or commercial experience, but he's a good listener, and I think he'll he certainly has the persona and has had supervisory control of other people, and people that have worked for him have liked Ben. So kind of a Red River Valley guy, isn't he? And University of South Dakota State graduate.
He's an SDSUer. Yep. I think home originally is in Iowa somewhere, but he's out of Brookings.
Yeah, my memory was he signed a free agency with the Bears. He was a tight end in college
He did.
football, and he had a chance to go play for the Bears. All right, good. Eric, you're next, my friend. Great photos, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. So those were taken in France on the left. We went to France last summer. That was the first time actually my kids have been to France, believe it or not. My oldest, Elliot, on the right, is 12. My youngest, Hudson, 10. And yeah, first time they've been there. So they met their cousins and aunts, and it was great trip. And then to the right is Amelia Island in Florida, where we escape every time we have 2 or 3 days. It's north of Jacksonville. It's about a 6-hour drive from here. So we go there a lot. And but you know, as I'm listening to you guys, it's I think it's really cool that you can, you know, work at the farm and still work for a company like AGCO and continue your passion. It's especially with all the things that happened in the last few years with COVID, and the market is very different now. People have different expectations, but having that grassroots in the farming community, I think is awesome. Being able to navigate through what's going on around us. So, but anyways, yeah, that's my family.
All right, are the boys still playing baseball? I remember when I was living with you.
So Hudson plays travel baseball and football and basketball. He's big in sports, and Elliot too. Elliot is doing football, wrestling, and so he left. He was doing travel baseball, but it was just too much on him, so he's going to do lacrosse. He's going to start lacrosse this spring. So
Remind me your wife's career. What's your wife's career? Is she at home or does she have a job too?
well, we met at AGCO. I don't know if you knew that. She was working for Doc Duran. That's a long time ago. But anyway, so she went back. She went to teaching after that, and then she didn't work for 11 years, and she went back to working as a teacher here at Mount Pisgah Christian School here in Atlanta, in Alpharetta. So she's been teaching for 2 years now. But teaching it's better now, but I tell you, teaching with COVID and all that stuff wasn't fun, but it takes a special person to teach, kind of like farming. You know, you do it for passion, not for the money. So
your boys look great, and I understand you enjoy your work. I see some posting every once in a while LinkedIn where you've a new piece of technology has come into your business, and you have a good variety of work.
I work for Jump In Technologies. They do a lot of so we process about a quarter of the food in the world through our machines. We freeze, so any food that's frozen in the world, 75% of it in the world is through our freezers. And we work with we're kind of behind the scenes. Those are the kind of companies you never heard of their names, but we actually I spent a lot of time with Pilgrims. They're using our new technologies now to automate all of their lines for Chick-fil-A. I don't know if any of you guys knew that they use really tender chicken, younger chicken, which requires processing machines, whether it's the cutting or the breading, or kind of a special type of machines to do that. So we're doing that, but I'm also working with Cargill, Conagra, Tyson Malaysia is gonna do a full line here with us, supposed to travel there. So it's been exciting because I'm still in the food industry, but I'm kind of like, you guys are, at the top of the chain, and I'm kind of at the bottom, where we process all the food that you guys grow and ends up at the restaurant or the fast food or.
If we don't, if society doesn't understand agriculture, they understand your piece of agriculture probably even less. And the work that you do to process food and get it ready for the food store. We got a friend coming in here, Drape's signing in. We'll circle back to him. All right, John Minson, next in line, friend.
All right. So we finally had a family picture, which is probably the first one since James was born, and possibly since Emily and I got married almost 20 years ago now. But this is my little crew. I got little Mackenzie, girl in the middle. She's 4 years old. She's our little social butterfly. She'll go up, talk to anybody, start playing dolls. We go to wrestling matches for Cody, and Kenzie just runs off with the little girls and goes and plays. So I don't know who she gets it from, but definitely not me or mom, not from that age. And Cody on the left, he's big into dirt biking and snowmobiling. Actually, Mackenzie just got into dirt biking a little bit this year too. Absolutely loves riding around on a little electric strider. But Cody, he wants a new dirt bike for next year. He's riding a little 50. Loves running a snowmobile around. He's in wrestling, so he's more of the sports freak of the family. And then on the right is James, and he's 10 years old. Cody was 7. James is 10, and a little bit different than the other two. He's maybe a little more shy. Does a little bit of dirt biking, but just huge into architecture and buildings and drawing. And so it's pretty cool having all 3 of them and how different they are. And then my wife, Emily, there on the right, making all of us look good. So that's,
I look at this and smile. I've got 2 boys and a girl as well, John, and what that means is you've got a middle child. And if ever I sit down to write a book, it'll be about not giving up on the middle child.
I was the middle child of 3.
That says a lot.
And I have a soft spot in my heart for little Cody.
Yeah, that's great. They look great, and it's neat that they all have a personality. What do you do for the first 10 years of your marriage? If you were married 20 years and you only got a 10-year-old, what?
I was good. No, so I was in the military for just shy of 12 years, and one of the things, we didn't want to have kids until I was done with that for deployments, and wanted to be around for the kids. And of course, then I joined AGCO, and I have weekly deployments instead of year-long deployments, but still home a lot more than I would have been. So that's what we waited.
All right. This next one, I apologize for the quality of Warren's picture. I'll tell you what I know about Warren Morris, and if somebody knows more, I'll ask you to chime in. But this is Warren and his 2 children and wife. You may or may not know Tommy's a senior this year. And in his junior year, his, somebody help me. The name of the school starts with an L, but it's I think they call themselves the Longhorns. And they won the state lacrosse tournament last year in the spring of the year. Tommy's football team was undefeated in the regular season, and I think they lost 2 games, maybe lost a conference championship, and then were beat out in the tournament. Tommy's applied at Knoxville to go where Warren and his wife went to school at UT. His daughter is both basketball and soccer, and I'm apologizing for not remembering either his wife or daughter's names. But Warren today is following the basketball trail. His daughter and son are both playing basketball tonight, so he excused himself from the call. So can somebody else fill in a gap that I haven't made there?
Well, I work with Warren. He's on the product management side on the small tractors now, so massive tractors. So I work with him a lot these days, which is good. We work together at Deere, so it's great to be back working with an old friend like him. But you hit the nail on the head, Russ. We talked a good bit during the football season, and I know he was really proud of how good his son was, the team was doing, and they didn't win the state, but they did really good. They got the playoffs, and Warren is, I just feel bad for him because his team's got in the Orange Bowl, they got to play probably the best team in college football now that we found our quarterback. So, I don't think they stand much of a chance. But anyway, at least it ought to be.
I thought Iowa was playing Kentucky.
At least they're orange. What do you say about Kentucky? Yeah, Kentucky actually, they looked really good at the beginning of the year, but they ended the season like a basketball team, a basketball school should.
Don't you give up on them now. Don't you give up on them. All right.
If they
Mr. Ryle,
score
buddy,
5
looking like
points,
a
they ought to
boy.
beat Iowa. But
You don't look like you've even aged a day, Dean. You look
I
great.
haven't aged any. Maybe lost a
You've
little
gotten
hair.
younger. Is that what happens?
Yeah, I tell you what, my wife and I we had never went on a cruise before. And so this is our very first cruise, and we went to Alaska.
Nice.
And I tell you what a wonderful time. And we just had a great time. We went to some stops, and you see that we enjoyed the lobster. And just such a great time. The one picture there on the left is riding a train up to Skagway, and that's where they packed they come into Skagway and then went up over the hill into Canada where the gold fields were, and this is still the old train cars, but they had new engines on it, and it was a neat train ride up through there. And I tell you what, I was impressed with everything on a cruise. We went into icy straits, what they call icy straits, to see the glaciers, and that was so nice. And I think we spent probably 6 hours in there just putting around, on a big old cruise boat. And we had a balcony, and we sat out on the balcony just playing cards and looking at everything around. And it was nice, warm weather. It's probably the hottest it's been up there for a while. But if you get a chance to go to Alaska on a cruise, go about last of June, and I guarantee you it is well worth the time and everything. So
You put on
But
any
that-
weight? You put on any weight when you ate on the cruise?
no, not really. I worked pretty hard to try to keep it off. But I ate a lot, but we have 16 grandkids, so I couldn't get a picture with all of us together. But our oldest one is she graduated from high school a year ago, and right now she's serving a church mission in Phoenix. And then we have 2 of them going to graduate this next year, and one of the girl that's graduating, she's a school president and the student body president. And she's got enough college credits to when she graduated out of high school, she lacks 2 college credits to get her associate degree. So she's a pretty smart girl. And then we have our youngest is 4 weeks old out of the 16. So we're in that area, and I got the place I bought 11 years ago, and probably a lot of you didn't know that till I moved out here, but we bought a place 11 years ago, and we had it rented out, and it's 7 acres, and back into where Josh is, but I got 7 horses here that I board. And so some of them are self-boarding. I just furnish the thing and they clean the stalls, or I got some of them outside. I charge them out for, and inside I charge them out for. And I got a 80 by 100 riding arena, indoor riding arena. And so it's really good. And so I try to get into the cattle business, but I'm like any cattleman. I usually buy high and sell low. So this year I did not want to buy a 250 pound steer calf or heifer calf for $500. And so I went ahead and bought some day old calves, and I tell you what, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. And so I thought I had them all healthy and turned them out, and about the 4th week out in the pasture, they was doing really good. And then one of my biggest ones got the scours, and so I lost money this year. So, but we have a good time. I keep awful busy, and I actually have lost about 10 pounds since we last left Atlanta, and usually put about anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day on. So
You look great. You look great. Now, Jonesy, what I heard there was if there's a summer camp for the Jones girls out in Utah, or,
Hey,
you know, that you can go out there and ride and take care of horses, and just be a great place for your girls to spend the summer.
well, I
Sounds
tell you
about
what, there's a lot of places out here that, in fact, this little town I live on, the town's not very big. And about 3-4 times a year, they have a team roping thing. And I guarantee you, they bring a lot of team ropers in here, and it's a 2-day event. And I guarantee you, they run team ropers through there just as fast as they could throw them. And people are coming and going, and big horse trailers, Jonesy, big horse trailer. That's probably like yours,
Yeah, no,
Haul about 6 horses, and you got a living quarters about like a house,
it costs as much as a house.
But I see them going by here on Friday mornings, and I guarantee you the big old places, and I guarantee you it's funny, but we enjoy it. We have a good time, and on the sideline, I was during COVID. We'd got a golden doodle dog, female dog, and we decided to start breeding her, and so we did. And I'll tell you what, I made so much money off of her. I had to buy a F-350 pickup off of that, just to try to keep her going. So it's pretty good, but the dog business went to south, just like the cattle business, my cattle business, but it's pretty good. But we have a
All
good
right,
time.
Dean, it's great to see and hear from you. All right, Mr. Slater, our double dipper, Peoria guy.
So Josh, you were there last week. When were you there?
I got back last night.
You got back last night. We were about a week off. So very similar to what you said. There's only certain times that we get to go on vacation. So this is my family at the character breakfast at Chef Mickey's. So you got my wife, Jordan, my oldest daughter, Lena May. She's 2. She actually turned 2 the day that we were there. And then my youngest daughter, Thea, who is 2 months old. And so if you want to have a lot of fun, take a 2-month-old to Disney. So we may or may not have booked the trip before we knew Thea was on her way. But we went with my entire family. So there were 16 of us in total. My parents, my sisters, their kids, my brother-in-laws, and my family. And it was the first time we've all been on vacation together, I think, in 7 years, like that. And so it was a really awesome trip. We had a lot of fun. I keep telling people I'd pay 3 times, 4 times the amount that I paid just to see that smile on my little girl's face, the way I saw it when she was with the princesses and all that stuff. And so I am officially a princess dad. Getting to use the bippity boppity boo wand and all that fun stuff. But yeah, so Lena May is like I said, she turned 2, but she is a talker. She talks better than me most of the time. She also loves farming, tractors, combines. She knows the difference, and she'll tell you the difference. She'll be able to say, "Hey, there's Daddy's combine." When we were out harvesting, so she's having a blast. And then Jordan, I tell people she pushes kids into pools for a living. So she does infant swim rescue, where she teaches infants on how to self-rescue themselves if they do fall into water, which is something that only my wife could do because I couldn't stand in a pool for 5 hours and listen to infants cry all the time. But she's a very special person with a huge heart, and so she does an amazing job at that. And then Thea is just kind of there right now, but she's starting to coo and kick and all that fun stuff. And so we're looking forward to getting the holidays. And farming was good this year. We had a really solid year. Very blessed for being kind of a garden spot of Illinois. Got rains when we needed them. Had good yields, and then it's been an amazing opportunity to farm alongside my dad, get to learn from him. It's you know, getting to spend that much time down in Duluth was amazing to learn from other people, but then now getting back and being part of the operation with Dad and learning from his wisdom is something I couldn't, I don't regret one bit. It's amazing. And then work at Precision Planning now and lead a team of 30 individuals. Just now 30 individuals. We hired 5 of them in this month. So we got a whole new swath of new people that we're going to have to train up, but we're having a lot of fun.
It's impressive
got
you were able to
great
find 5
you
new
know,
people.
You know, you got a new building to fill up now, so.
Yeah, we've got a pretty big new building to make sure we get it all filled. And to answer John's question, yeah, finding those 5 people, we started January of last year to find those 5 people. I probably did, if I were to actually count, I'm probably well over 120 phone interviews just to find the right people. Because the big thing for us is we hire for culture, not just skill. So you got to find the right people to begin with. And there's some people that cut themselves out pretty darn quick.
All right, TD, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I've scrolled back to your page. I got the 6 grandchildren, and the Josh says this is a future Wildcat that's in that purple uniform.
Oh yeah. Sorry I got on a little late here, but sorry for the jiggling. This is a deja vu for me. My wife's actually driving, but I'm on Interstate 85 heading home on a Friday afternoon. So it's something I did for about 25 years. And it seemed like every Friday between 4 and 6 o'clock. But anyway, here we are. So yeah, I've always had a challenge trying to keep up with Dean. Dean's got 16 grandkids. And I'm parked at 6 right now. But yeah, little Wildcat there. He's playing football, baseball. His sister beside him is playing softball. The other 4-year-old is playing baseball or t-ball. So that consumes a lot of our time in season, and it's back season now. So there's 3 there. The oldest one of those 3 turns 3 tomorrow.
And we're running into some bandwidth issues with you, Drape, so we're hearing about every other word.
Yeah, they're all keeping.
You're not behind the wheel of a car, are you? You're in the
Sorry.
passenger side?
His wife's driving.
No, I'm not behind the wheel.
They're good.
And sorry
Good.
about that, but
No, you're fine.
anyway, just a couple things. Number one, 3 years retired now, and all is good. We did sell our place at the beach. We spent a lot of time down there during COVID, but yeah, spending time with grandkids and family now. I'll let you guys know there's going to be another Draper on the payroll come next week. My youngest son is joining AGCO in the purchasing group as a purchasing project manager. So
Awesome.
he's
Good
looking
for
forward
him.
to it. And it was funny in the interviewing process, he was asked the question, how do you know about AGCO? He kind of laughed and said, well, it's my dad. He worked at AGCO for 30 years. Oh. Anyway, all's good with the plan. Everybody's pretty healthy. Second youngest baby just had a surgery yesterday, as I was explaining to Russ, but he's doing fine. So yeah, all is well
Good.
with the Draper clan.
All right, good, Drape. I'll try and keep this at the top of the hour. I put some things together that this is circa December 2020 when Drape and I and Dean walked away from the game. You knew I'd started a group called MACKAYBEN when I was transitioned to Lexington in 2012, and kind of put it at rest when I went to work with this team and develop product with AGCO. But what I intended to do at that time was I was going to spend time with friends, and I was going to organize a group of young people that I thought were going to be the next generation of ag leaders. I was going to build a website and a YouTube channel, and I was going to catch some trout and some walleye and shoot some ducks. And I did all of those things, and it was enjoyable. I made I don't know, something like a 2,800-mile round trip Colorado fly fishing trip with my high school buddy. And I watched him catch about 200 trout while I caught 2, and determined maybe I was better at making PowerPoint slides than I was at fly fishing, but I'm not going to give up on that. And Caleb could probably speak a little bit more in a minute about what we're doing with MACKAYBEN. But here's the group. On the left is the kids at the family, the farm that's been in the family for 130 years, as long as I stay married to the same woman. I'll be a 1/12th owner of a 600-acre farm in southeast Iowa. And my oldest grandson didn't make it to Florida with us this last month, but that's Ben and his regard to a fife and drum corps in Colonial Williamsburg. And Ben's a high school junior, and he's starting to think about his college direction. And then there's the other 6 inmates with Katie and I in Orlando at last month. And you can see they all have a different personality. They you know, the patriarchs, Kaylee and Mac on the left of the photo, that's with Ben, is the name of the company, MACKAYBEN. Super Robbie in the white polo shirt is a young man that was 9 weeks in Cincinnati Central with the cancer problem this time last year, and his cousin Liam's little sister Finley, and then in the striped whatever will be Miss Kentucky, probably 2032, and that's Eli. And Eli got a chance to sing a solo last week in the church pageant. MACKAYBEN, I still work with 12 young people, millennials, and I say it's my responsibility and our responsibility to mentor the next generation of ag and food leaders. I went to work with Machinery Advisors in May of 21, and we now have 7 advisors. We have under contract 55 ag dealers that have 288 storefronts. We just put together a group in the last quarter up and down the Missouri River Valley, a group of C&H dealers that the 8 of them have a gross revenue of a little over $1.3 billion. And so what we do is peer groups, same thing as Spader, same thing as Jimmy Weber. We meet with them twice a year, face to face, and twice a year on a virtual call like this. And it's enjoyable. I have a lot of fun with it. Here's a timeline of MACKAYBEN. For year 1, we put together the founding group, and you'll see that Caleb Schlater was one of the founding members. In our MACKAYBEN group, we've got agronomists, we've got production ag, we've got marketing, we've got cattlemen, we've got people that are in agency work in Washington, D.C. Terry Swiston's boy here, Austin Swiston is one of the founding members of the next generation of ag leaders. Did put together the YouTube channel, did put together a website so we can promote what we do at MACKAYBEN here. I put a lot of the videos up there of our meetings, developed the website and the logo in the first quarter, joined the the Machinery Advisors in the second quarter. And then I brought my 9-word speech into play with the group in the third quarter of 2021, our first year. And that group, it was interesting. The words that they chose to select, this happens to be, you can see an example here from Richard Brock's boy, David Brock, and the words that he chose for his 9-word speech, and each one of them came up with a little bit different content. The second half of the year, we talked about what I called the 6 seasons of agriculture, and 4-H, FFA, and the FFA were part of those seasons. And giving back to agriculture as alumni, I thought was a very important thing. A lot of our members had fall activities. Here you can see Caleb had the winter conference to prepare for with precision planting. Mitchell Hora had a Continuum Ag, big ag soil event, and had it in Iowa City, Iowa, and then ended the year with some tragedy here in Kentucky with a tornado that took out an entire city in the west of Kentucky and stayed on the ground for a better part of 200 miles. And it was quite a bit of devastation in that December timeframe of 2021. And then we surveyed the group to determine, what they wanted to do, what they wanted to see going forward into the next year. In the first quarter of the next year, I reloaded with 4 new members, a couple of ag dealers out of Nebraska with Jake Judge and Erica Harms. Erica now is going to work for Beck Seeds Hybrid in Nebraska, and her career is growing. Cam Canfield with Strativation is an Ohio-based strategy group that works with fertilizer companies. And Taylor Gerber in the lower right is a marketing director of an agricultural firm in southern Wisconsin. Next, at the Ag Dealer Summit in the first quarter of this year, wrote an article for Farm Equipment Magazine about the distance and how important it was to keep communication between the boardroom and the break room. And I talked about the teamwork necessarily and the grit necessary to be a leader, to be a leader in an agricultural environment like we're in. Developed a leadership model, which I call the 4 dimensions of agricultural leadership. And I used this just this last week with the Salford group in Nashville, as they asked me to open up their strategic meeting, and getting quite a bit of resonance. And I'll speak to how I use this in a work with different clients that we might have. So summer was the Mine Summit. In August, we talked about the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, and the impact that had on agriculture. In September, we had a Zoom call, and Caleb may recall, we talked about how each of these members are giving back to their communities on community service. And in November, I was honored to be nominated and installed at AFA, the Ag Futures of America, as one of 4 executive ambassadors for that group. They have a convention every November with about 800 to 900 delegate students from 200 ag colleges around the nation. And as an executive ambassador, you probably would understand, we get a chance to raise money and get contributions to that society. And now it's birthday time. We're enjoying the second birthday. This next slide, you'll see some people I think. Last week I was in Nashville, the Salford group. You can see a friend, someone I've known for a number of years in the industry. On the upper right is Tom Rogers, handing me a check for the contribution to AFA for the introductory speech that I made. And if you look on the upper left, you'll see David Webster is a director of sales for the application equipment side of the Salford group.
Russ, what does Tom Rogers do now? I used to work with him at Deere. I hadn't seen him in 15 years. Probably looked familiar. And that's
Hey, Rex. Tom Rogers, after Deere, went to Bridgestone Firestone.
okay.
He was in a tire gap for a while. And I met him when he was at Bridgestone Firestone working with a guy named Ken Allen. And he lives in Des Moines. He's got 2 or 3 daughters, 3 daughters, I believe. And one of them is in a grad assistant role now at the University of Nebraska, also an equestrian. And the younger 2 are still high school age. But Tom lives in Des Moines, has been there for some time. I think he comes from a family farm in East Central Illinois. All right, looking forward to next year. I will go to the AED and have a meeting responsibility in Chicago the first week of the year. We will display under the name MAC, the Machinery Advisors, at the Commodity Classic in March. And then I'll have a responsibility with the AFA in Louisville in June. But there's always something to do. There's always something that keeps you active and moving through your, what I say, there's always something in agriculture that's going to change, and being with it and on the front side of it is still keeps me relevant, I guess is the best way to put it. So that's what I'm doing at either Machinery Advisors or McCaben. As a matter of fact, AGCO is one of our clients. We put on 3 mindset meetings with Bill Hurley's group in the last quarter of this year. And we've got 4 or probably 3 scheduled for the first quarter of next year. And what we do with Bill's team is we meet with dealers and help them to identify their next generation, help them to identify their growth pattern, and bring to them some different strategic tactics that can be used to grow their business. So enjoy what I'm doing. Enjoy what I'm doing for next year. I'm sure that Katie and I, again, will have 1 or 2 weeks that we get to spend with the kids in a place other than Lexington. My daughter's a judgeship here, has 3 children, only 2 parents. So that means there's always an Uber job for either Katie or I to go to swim lessons or dance lessons or soccer practice or something. And we're obviously easy on the draw to do that. So that's the story. We're top of the hour. I've got 1 more Zoom call to make yet to this week with 2 characters named Dusty Patterson and Greg Milstead. So there's I don't get to quit as early on a Friday as I used to.
Good luck with them and tell them hi.
Yeah.
You bet.
Yeah, I certainly will. Let's go around the horn. John, I see you on the upper left. So John, then Rex, then KJ, Eric, and Dean. We'll go in that order. Anything you want to close with, John?
No, I really appreciate you pulling this together, Russ. Great seeing you and many of you. Tom, I haven't talked to you for forever. I've missed you.
Yeah, call me, you goof.
Same with most of you. So it's been great. Thank you.
You're still using some of his techniques, though, aren't you, John?
Always.
Always. Rex, how about you?
Just not
Yeah,
as
but
weird
same
choices.
here. Yeah, we certainly appreciate you inviting me to participate here. Enjoyed catching up with you and everybody else. Great work there with McCaben, and I'm glad to see that it's doing well. I mean, I know you'll always be relevant, in this business. You've done some great things, but anyway, hopefully we'll run into you sometime before too long, and appreciate it. Good talking to you.
KJ, you need to bring the girls to horse country.
You are in horse country. That's for
That's
sure.
what I mean.
They don't even know about that, so I'm not introducing them to anything extra.
Let me tell you my horse story. I never heard of Flight Line until the special horse race at the end of the year. That horse won the cup, I want to say Berkeley. What's the end of the year? Anyway, won it on Saturday by 12 lengths. On Monday, they sell 2% of the horse ownership for $4.6 million. Well, each time Flight Line covers a mare, the stud fee is $200,000. Now, if you back the math out of 2% of 200,000, that horse has to cover 920 mares before you break even. Now, it's not a very good financial investment, but you can't slap the smile off the horse's face. I mean,
Sounds like a lot of fun to me.
You live in large. All right. Eric, anything you want to close with? You're on mute.
No, Merry Christmas to you all and Happy New Year. And France is in the finals in soccer. So I know soccer is not a big deal for you guys in the Midwest, but so anyways, we're going to go for our 3rd star against Argentina. So,
Hey, I'm all bought in on soccer now, Eric. I love it.
you
now.
are?
Yeah,
All
oh
right.
yeah.
Okay.
I've
Awesome, man.
got teams. I've got Premier teams. I got National League teams. I got
You kidding
MLS
me?
teams.
Oh,
I'm all bought
man,
in.
that should have. All right. Well, you know who I'm going to be cheering for on Sunday.
What an event. I just can't imagine the logistics of putting together those 4 new stadiums they built over there for this event, and the amount of money running through that country with the tourism that they've had. Just it's been quite an amazing story to roll out on TV. Dean, how about you, buddy?
Hey, I tell you what, Merry Christmas to everyone. And well, Russ, thanks again for putting this together. It's nice to talk to everyone and see what everybody's doing, and that everybody's healthy. You know, it's interesting as we go through that, you know, make sure that everybody keeps healthy and going, and we're just, you know, I know it's when you retired, I told my wife, I said I wanted something to do, because every time I hear of somebody retiring, about the year after they retire, they either have to go in the hospital for some big thing or something like that. And so we got something that I can do, and it keeps me busy all the time. And then on the time off, I decided that I like cruises. So
Have you signed up for your next cruise?
well, it's either to Hawaii or either Panama Canal, going through the canal. So we're debating on that.
Either one would be a great use of time, Dean.
Yeah.
Josh,
so-
how about you? Big 12 champ.
Well, to echo everybody else, also Merry Christmas. Thanks so much for getting us together, Russ. I mean, you used to have a pretty good team now that you think about it, huh, Russ? I mean, there's some pretty good folks on this call now. No, it's good to see everybody doing so well, and you know, moving on in the ways that we all have to, you know, serve the industry and the farmers and have good families. So awesome to see everybody.
Dean and I and Drape want you to give our best regards to your team down in Heston. Some of our best days were spent in that environment. So make sure you say hey to Robert Ross and the teammates down there. And we have great feelings about the character work and the quality and the profitability that comes out of that factory for AGCO. That's
Yeah,
a
actually,
great
it's
thing.
Heston's changed quite a lot in the last probably 6 months. Quite a bit. That
All
I've
right,
kept
Caleb,
track of.
what do you got to say goodbye with?
Just Merry Christmas. Thanks, Russ, for putting this together. This is awesome to get to see all these faces, and this is a great season to remember the blessings that we get. And so enjoy this time with your family. Enjoy the quality time and remembering what the season's all about. But thanks again for putting this together, Russ. This is awesome.
TD, how about you, Drape?
Ditto. Thanks again, Russ, for pulling this together. What we should, if we have the time and the logistical ability to do this more often.
We might do that. We might go, we might have a reason for a Valentine's Day or an Easter season or something of that nature. Some of you guys got to earn a living. You know, I got to remind I got to remind 3 or 4 of the guys on here, they're still responsible for that stock price. And it's looked pretty good in the last, but I get emotional when I think of the relationships we had together, guys, and the work we did and the way we teamed up to put the brands of AGCO, whether it's Massey, whether it's Sunflower, whether it's Heston, whether it's Fendt and Gleaner. I'll tell you what, when I talk to dealers across the planet and I talk to all colors, green, red, blue, AGCO, Fendt, you have nothing to be remiss about the power of your brand. And you can be assured that whether it's Precision Planting, whether it's GSI, whether it's Fendt, you can be assured that the marketplace knows you're there. You know, you can be proud of that. And that doesn't mean you're done. I mean, there's work to be done, but you're doing work now that's meaningful work and it's significant work. And you just got to keep your dealers viable and keep working with them because you are making a difference in the marketplace. All right, we'll talk later. Everybody be safe for your holidays. Great to see every one of you.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Thanks so much.
Bye, guys.